So this is very much a shared consciousness. Of course, there are many other people who have shared many of those experiences as you have. So you could say it is the shared consciousness of the entire human race, and beyond that, which is contained in that area. So it's no wonder our dreams are such a jumble. We're drawing in our dreams on that eighth consciousness, memories and things that have happened to us in the remotest past, as well as in the near future, as well as in the near past. And then finally, deep below that lies the ninth consciousness, which is the universal consciousness, the consciousness that is shared with everything in the whole universe, the Buddha consciousness. The universe that exists in us, in our oneness with the universe, the great universe itself, is the ninth consciousness. So that is called, in one Japanese principle, amala shiki, the fundamental pure sense. The fundamental pure sense, or the purifying force of life, or the essence of life, the pure essence of life, shared by every living thing, or Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the greater self, whereas the seventh consciousness, the area of the ego, is the lesser self. So unless we understand and can tap this ninth consciousness, you can see that inevitably human life is at the mercy of the seventh and the eighth consciousnesses. So of course, those who understand psychology and are experts in it realize that. They're fully aware of the seventh and the eighth consciousnesses and the way it affects our lives. But up to the present time, they're not aware of the ninth. So the purpose of Buddhism is to plumb the depths of your life to the ninth consciousness, so that all that radiates from that will then filter through the seventh and eighth consciousness, purifying it on the way, and lead you to carry out thoughts, words, and deeds which are variable and harmonious. So in a very theoretical way, that again is what is happening when you do Gongyo. So it's quite often you find that when you begin to do Gongyo, you feel uncomfortable. You fidget, maybe you scratch your head, maybe even you feel a bit irritable, angry, or whatever. That's quite reasonable, because you're at that point pushing your way down through the senses, the first to the fifth, to the sixth, and then to the seventh and eighth consciousness. But after a bit, your concentration seems to improve. You seem to really be totally absorbed by this Gongyo. By then you're in the ninth. So the Buddha state is revealed in Gongyo and continues to be revealed throughout your chanting of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Of course, when you get up and go outside and find you've got to queue for 20 minutes for the bus, you may rapidly find yourself leaving the Buddha state and going into some other state of life. But the fact is that the more you practice, the more that will not happen. The longer will you stay in the Buddha state throughout the day, and your actions will reveal that to you. So Gongyo is a daily battle. A daily battle with the negative and destructive forces that are absolutely inherent in every single person's human life. A battle against the lower worlds of those 10 worlds that we explained in the first lecture of this course. A struggle to turn everything in one's life from negative to positive value. For this reason, you can understand that Gongyo mustn't be too easy, must it? Neither, of course, must it be too difficult, because we've all got normal daily lives to lead. So Gongyo must be difficult enough to cause us to make effort. Unless we make effort, we're not going to defeat that negative force which is so strong in our lives. Yet it's got to be easy enough for us to fit into our daily program. So I really think it's an amazing practice in this sense, because you can fit it in if you really have a mind to do so. When I first started to be introduced to this Buddhism, I didn't think it was possible for me to do Gongyo. Not because I didn't think I could do it, but because I thought I was such a busy businessman that I couldn't possibly find the time in my incredible schedule to do Gongyo twice a day and chant Daimoku and all the rest of it. And then one person who practiced for a long time said to me, well, I understand your feelings, Mr. Causton, but please remember that the practice of Gongyo and chanting Daimoku activates your wisdom. So you'll find you're using your time more wisely. And it really proved to be true. Of course I managed to fit in Gongyo and Daimoku, and I did, it seemed to me, sometimes twice as much in a day in my business life as I'd been able to do previously, because I didn't waste time so much, and I used every minute valuably, more and more that I practiced. So Gongyo, for those of you who feel, oh gosh, this is, have I really got to do this every day? It's meant to be difficult. If it wasn't a little bit difficult, it would be useless. Because it is an effort to change one's life from negative to positive. And furthermore, the more you get used to doing it, the more you begin to see what you've got to change before you even start Gongyo. As you begin, as you go up and get ready to start it, you become so aware of yourself. My gosh, you're an irritable so-and-so this morning. Or, you're so lethargic today, Right, by the end of this Gongyo, that's got to change. That is the attitude, and it'll change. So Gongyo, let's go, is a really good translation of it. So now I'd like to talk for a bit about reciting the sutra. This is not prayer. Reciting the sutra is practice. It's an exercise. We are always taught to recite it rhythmically, to pronounce each syllable carefully and clearly, to be firm and vigorous as we do it. This is the exercise by which you begin to purify your life. If you slur it, or you speak it in a slovenly way, if you're not alert, then of course the effect will be that much less. So of course the sutra has deep meaning, and it's very important it should have a deep meaning, otherwise you get fed up to the back teeth doing it after a couple of years. But the very fact that it takes you many, many, many years to understand every line of those chapters of the Lotus Sutra mean that you can never fail to become bored with what you're saying. Of course, it's also significant that what you're saying is in fact the very, in a brief way, the whole of Buddhist teaching. So of course it has immense meaning from that point of view. And of course you can keep your interest in it always by trying to understand more and more what those words mean. But in fact, even if you don't understand one single word of what it means, it still has effect because it's an exercise. The exercise of practicing rhythmically, clearly and strongly. So really this reciting of the sutra is leading up towards your silent prayers and your chanting of Nam-myoho-renge-kyo, purifying your life on the way. Someone said it's like the run before you actually leap over the high jump. You have to run, make more and more effort, then you achieve your victory and go over the top. In a way it's similar to that. So in the words of the Gongyo chapter, the second of the two chapters that you recite, it says, Ishin yokken butsu, fuji shakushimyo. Ishin yokken butsu, fuji shakushimyo. You'll find it, I think it's on page 29 of the Gongyo book. So those words mean, in my great desire to see the Buddha appear in my life, I do not begrudge it in the least. In my great desire to see the Buddha appear in my life, I do not begrudge it in the least. Really, that is the spirit of Gongyo. In one's desire to advance and open up and develop the highest state of one's life, you don't begrudge the time it takes to do Gongyo. And you put your utmost into it. Really, those words express the spirit of Gongyo. Ishin yokken butsu, fuji shakushimyo. So the Hoben chapter, which is the first chapter you recite, is really the theory of the mechanics of life and of the existence of the state of Buddha in it, in every human life. And the Gongyo chapter is Shakyamuni Buddha's own experience of Buddhahood, of the eternity of life and of Buddhahood. So, strictly speaking, you could say that the fact that we recite the Hoben chapter over and over again so often is expressing our praise of the Buddha's wisdom and of our expectation of revealing the same wisdom in ourselves. And reciting the Gongyo chapter over and over again is again praise for all that we've learned through the Buddha's experience, through first Shakyamuni's experience and then above all Nichiren Daishonin's experience, and our expectation of being able to experience the same enlightenment. So reciting the sutra, though it's an exercise, is praise. We are praising the wisdom of the Buddhas in teaching life to us. So through reciting, we honor, we praise, and we express gratitude. And Gongyo as a whole, and you'll discover as we go on going through it, is really a ceremony of gratitude. Someone once said, gratitude is an area of life which you have, if you haven't got the key to it, causes you to miss an immense part of the joy and happiness of this world, or words to that effect. Gratitude opens the door to a huge area of life that one never realized before. Gongyo is very much a ceremony of gratitude for life. So the Lotus Sutra, as you may know, is really an incredible teaching. And it's set, as it were, on a stage which is far beyond the confines of this world or our particular environment here. It really is set on a universal stage. It talks in terms of the universe itself. It expresses things in terms of eons and light years and the eternity of life and the boundlessness of the universe. It's not concerned with time or space. And I believe the more one does Gongyo, the more you feel that connection with the great universe. You feel, as it were, less and less confined by time and space as we know it. And you feel the ability of your life and its achievements to expand far beyond the bounds of one's earlier imagination. So, of course, since this is concerned with the rhythm of life, that's obviously a very dynamic thing. This rhythm or energy or life force, which makes the tides come and go, and the seasons change, and the earth move round the sun, and the winds blow, and all this incredibly dynamic force. So therefore, the rhythm of life is in itself vigorous and vibrant. Therefore, one's recitation of the sutra should also be vigorous and vibrant. It's not supposed to be in a slurred or slow or sort of funeral-like pace. It should, as someone once said, be at the speed of a galloping horse. Of course this takes time. You can't get to that sort of rhythm until you've been practicing for a bit. It doesn't take so long, a matter of a few months. Really, that practice of Gongyo is to vitalize once again your life force for the day. Therefore it should be vibrant. Now, in Buddhism, there is a concept called the 3 acts of body, mouth, and heart. The 3 acts of body, mouth, and heart. That concerns the practice of Buddhism. So in the case of Gongyo, of course, the body is what you place in front of your Gohonzon and start to practice. You are giving, during that practice, your body to the practice. And then the mouth is, of course, the words that come from it. Do those words really ring out firmly? If you are giving your mouth to the Buddha, they should be firm and strong and vibrant. I don't mean that they should be shouted, and I don't mean that they should be whispered. I mean they should be firm and clear. And as one chants to the Gohonzon, the vibrations from your voice should, as it were, travel out to the Gohonzon, so that they return back to you and then go on out into the universe. A firm, clear, steady voice. This is giving, the act of giving your mouth. And the act of giving your heart, this of course is the most important of all. And that's where gratitude comes in once again. The very effort of doing this Gongyo is expressing your gratitude, expressing your faith in what the Buddha taught, because you're actually carrying out what he said you should do. So this gratitude, this desire to do it no matter what, even if one's feeling lousy when you get up, that is really the act of giving your heart. So in that giving, one should clear one's mind of any slander or hatred or bad feelings about anybody. In the process of reciting the sutra, you'll find in an amazing way that'll happen. Perhaps some of you experience times when some bad thought about somebody may come into your mind, and you'll find yourself starting to sneeze or cough, or something will stop you and clear that thought from your mind. This is the natural process of purification, and the power of Gongyo to do it. Okay, enough for the sutras. Now, the silent prayers. There are 5 silent prayers, as I said, each preceded by reciting the sutra. In Japanese, the silent prayers are called Go Kanenmon. Go, Gyo, Kanen, K-A-N-N-E-N, Mon, M-O-N. Go Kanenmon. So Go is the honorific prefix, as in Gohonzon, the honorable, if you like. And Mon means a passage or a sentence. Mon, a passage or a sentence. And Kanen means concentration of the mind or meditation with a purpose of attaining enlightenment. Meaning of Kanen. So the purpose of those silent prayers is to concentrate in absolute silence your whole life on whatever it is that particular silent prayer is about. And we'll briefly talk about that in a second. So this is not just reading. Of course you do read the silent prayers. You need to read them to refresh your mind on the words and their meaning. In fact, the high priest said the other day, even though you can do the whole of Gongyo without the prayer book, you should still have it open when you do the silent prayers, because it's very difficult to concentrate without taking in each word. But it's not just reading, it's living what you read with your whole life. So of course in many religions the silent prayers are the only practice. But in the case of Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism, the silent prayers are a refreshment, a daily refreshment of your determination. A daily refreshment, first of your gratitude for being alive and for the benefits that the practice of bringing you. And then your determination in return to do your own human revolution, to try to clear your life of unhappy karma, and in the process make other people in your environment happy. So you're beginning to see now that the reciting of the sutra is an exercise to put your life in balance, so that when you come to do the silent prayers, your life is purified and they have the greatest possible effect.